Hello there, everybody. This is General Snivy, and welcome back to more of the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Last time, we managed to rescue Juju and also prevented someone from kicking the bucket, even though he was destined to die. Anyway, in today's session, we're going to be proceeding onward to the next major area, the Satoru Marsh. As, believe it or not, our next destination is not where we're supposed to be going. We're going to be making a pit stop to Prison Island in order to unlock the true power of the Monado. But to get there, we need to pass through several areas. And I know that's going to take multiple sessions. So, alongside that, before we get started, I did change around everyone's outfits. I also added weapon gems to Dunban's equipment. So everything is right with the world and everything is looking nice and mighty fine. Also, we have some guest party members, Juju, Atharon, as well as Dixon. Those three people will not be participating in battles at all whatsoever, so you don't need to worry about them at all. They're just there for story reasons, and that's really about it. Now, let's head on off to the Kelshire Wetlands within Satoru Marsh.
I've never seen anywhere like this.
You see? This is why I've been saying you need to get out of the lab every now and then. We're aiming to get inside the Bionis. We can get to the upper regions from there.
Wow. I've never thought about going inside the Bionis.
The closer we get to the top, the more monster trouble we're gonna run into. The only things that venture this far in are the Nopon merchants and curious types like me.
You really know all the fun spots, eh, Dixon?
You want to get to the top? Then this is the only way.
We'll push on, no matter what.
That's the spirit, Shulk.
So, anyway, welcome to the Satoru Marsh, aka one of the most beautiful locations in the entire game at nighttime. And honestly, the night version of the song that normally plays here is superior to the daytime version any day of the damn week. And the remastered version just makes things that much better, in my honest opinion. It really does. So anyway, here we have some fairly familiar enemies. Albeit they are at a higher level, and they have slightly different names. Basically, they're the same sort of species of enemies we've been encountering before, but with a different coat of paint and some buff stats. But really, they're nothing really too bad. Also, that thing can bugger off. So, even though this place is beautiful at night and the music matches its tone, there's also some very dangerous monsters that come out at night that are in the high 80s. Most of them won't target you unless you provoke them first. But there are still some enemies that will come after you regardless, in which case, run for the hills.
Everyone, look. It's a group of Nopon.
Ah, some Nopon merchants.
What do you think they're up to?
They must be here for a reason. Let's go and ask them.
Perhaps they're here to
Good
sell
idea.
car insurance. Not like that's really a thing in this world, but you never know. Am I right?
Follow my lead.
Anyway, before we speak to the Nopon merchants, first I kind of want to deal with this asshat, the Aqua Nebula. This is another one of those enemies that will attack you if you use an ether-based art.
We're moving as one.
But you can also lure it close to you by using the lure tactic at the start of the battle, so really it's not all that bad. One thing about these nebulas here is that they have a pretty big tendency to explode. And they usually do that when they're about to die, which is very, very bad. The reason why that's bad is because that will deal a pretty substantial amount of damage to you and your party. Thankfully, it can't wipe you out, as even if you run out of HP and your party leader falls, so long as the battle is technically over, you win. But you don't gain any experience if the enemy explodes. But if you manage to defeat it before it explodes, you'll get some pretty nice rewards, such as elemental chunks and other things of that nature, depending on the nebula you defeat. So anyway, the Nopon merchants here, you can technically talk to them if you so want to, and some of them even have several different side quests, so be sure to speak to them. Funny enough, a lot of them are basically gathering quests as well as battle quests around here. So again, not too bad, all things considered. Let's see. Excuse me. I thought I had to burp, but for whatever reason it wasn't quite coming out as a burp. I almost puked in my mouth, which is kind of nasty. So one thing I will go ahead and mention here is that I know that I'm starting today's stream a bit later than usual, at around 2 p.m. as opposed to 1 p.m., so I'm almost an hour late in this regard. So the reason why I started a bit later today is because my mother decided to hop into the shower last minute, and normally that sounds like it's not that big of a deal. But the thing is, the insulation built within this apartment complex is not very good. So in other words, you can hear the shower as it's going, plus Mom loves to listen to music as well while she's in the shower. So even if it would be muffled, I still don't want to take any chances. So, yeah. That's the reason why I waited. Plus, it just sounds more professional that you don't hear the constant boosh in the background. Believe me, that's why I refuse to run my portable air conditioner when I'm streaming, even if I'm baking. I may run my fan because my fan itself is very quiet. But even so, I'm just saying. Just trying to reduce the amount of background noise as possible, just so that way things just are nicer overall. Especially on the audio side of things. So let's see. I do know I have a few quests that I'm kind of tracking, but perhaps I'll take on some of the other quests around here first. So, one thing I will go ahead and mention here is that when you're traversing throughout most of the swamp water around here, it will slow your movement speed down quite a bit. So, the best way of getting through the swamp water fast is just jumping like a rabbit over and over again. Especially before jumping into the water. Trust me, it helps. It really does. It may not seem like it does, but trust me. It really does make a difference. Maybe not so much in the speedrunning sense, but you basically get the idea. So anyway, the monster quests around here really aren't too bad. Just gotta beat up some giant frogs. Afterwards, I think the remaining monster quests are in the daytime. Which, that song is kind of different within itself, and it's also pretty interesting. I'll get into that later.
I expected a tougher battle.
Excuse me.
Let's keep this up.
Let's see here. You know what? I'll take everything here. Hello. She wants us to collect 3 white brog livers? Can you really eat these things? Well, technically speaking, you can eat a liver of some kind, and that does make some sort of sense. Okay, so I believe the remaining monster part quests aren't available right now due to the time of day. And that's perfectly fine, as this gives us a little more time to explore anyway. And also take into the sights around here. And like I said, be careful who you target around here, as especially at night, high-level monsters love to come out and play and want to smack your face. And trust me, that's not fun. Shimmering Marsh. Let's take a look at this. This place is beautiful. Some call it the Shimmering Marsh. I can see why. Have you ever been here before? No, and I'm suitably amazed. How can a place light up so much at night? I've never seen anything like it. I have, once when I was very young. Really? Interesting. It was at the ruins where me and the Monado were found. The same thing happens there. At night, glowing ether fills the air. So that's where you saw it. I don't remember much about the ruins. I found my way in and then I lost consciousness. That's about all I can remember from back then, except the light. If it was as beautiful as this, no wonder you remember it. Ether is an incredible thing. It really is. Will it ever run out? Great question, Dunban. I've always wondered that. Great minds think alike. And your thoughts? I can't draw any firm conclusions or anything. All I know is ether isn't unlimited, so I guess it won't last forever. I don't suppose we have anything to worry about in our lifetime. Maybe not, but we should still try and find another energy source. We can't just rely on it always being there. Energy aside, it'll be a shame when this natural beauty is gone. Yes, whether that's 100 years from now or 1,000. Funny enough, that's actually a very real philosophy. That even applies to today's day and age. Considering energy resources such as fossil fuel and gasoline, things like that. Let me tell you, those things aren't going to stick around forever. And of course, there are some energy advancements coming around nowadays, especially when it comes to things like renewable energy, like solar power, as well as, as I was saying, there's obviously wind power, and there's also solar power, as far as I know, as possible renewable energy sources. But other ones, I'm not so sure at this point. Okay. Oh wow, we got another nebula. Oh crap! I did not realize we were being targeted by a level 80. Great! So if you ever feel like you're in a bit of a bind, hit down on the D-pad, select the flee command, and run for your life. You know what they say, live to fight another day. I know it seems like that's kind of a waste, running away from an enemy like that, but trust me, you kind of want to do that if you're in a very huge bind. In other words, if you're facing an enemy that's you're clearly outmatched against it in every way, shape, and form, don't worry about it. There's no shame in running away. Hell, you may accidentally discover a new landmark upon doing so, so it's kind of a win-win there. So, that's pretty neat. Let's see what we got over here. Another heart-to-heart that sadly cannot be viewed at this point in time. But hey, at least we got another landmark marked. Oops, I did not quite mean to fall down there.
Sorry, I got focus.
I think there's a secret area somewhere around these parts. If not, I'm thinking of a little bit further down the line, but regardless though, there is definitely a point of searching around here. Not only to find new landmarks and just to explore the land as we see fit, but believe it or not, there's actually an upcoming story quest that we must take on in order to progress. And it does require us to explore this place quite a bit and grab some important collectibles. And believe it or not, you can actually collect these early. And by early, I mean like as soon as you get here. You can just explore the land. If you know exactly where these things are, you can just go and grab them. And afterwards, you're good to go. You don't need to worry. You don't have to worry your little head about whether or not you'll be able to complete the quest in a timely manner or not, because you'll have everything in your hands immediately, as soon as you start. Or, like, just shortly after. It really depends on how you approach it. So, one other thing I haven't really mentioned yet about chests is that when it comes to these things, these stick around forever. I'm dead serious. You can spawn almost an infinite number of chests, but they, technically speaking, these chests, you do have to pick them up eventually. Or you can choose to leave them behind. It's up to you. But what I'm trying to say is they'll stick around for a very, very long time. Like, so long it's kind of baffling. So, now that the time of day has changed for this wondrous place, some new sort of music is applied to this place. It's kind of similar to the nighttime version, but not really. I find it's more so kind of a remix of the nighttime version, but still different enough. Funny enough, when it comes to this particular song, part of its melody reminds me of the Song of Healing from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Hopefully you'll be able to hear what I mean. Let's see here. There we are. Let's see here. Okay, our next target really shouldn't be too far from where we need to go. I noticed I got an email from Humble Bundle. Oh. I think it's just reminding me that there's not too much time left in a bundle that I set a reminder for. So, that's what that email was all about. Okay. As far as where our next target is, it should be just across the way here. By the way, one thing I will mention here is that you're going to be encountering a lot of these Igna-like creatures. Basically, they're lizard men with swords and shields. And they're more than willing to put up a fight. Funny enough, they're mostly really easy to just tackle and just completely wreck. Get by. Get wrecked. Get by. What? I have no idea what I was trying to say. That was pretty dumb. Hello. Looks like we got something for a different quest. Let's take him out. Goodbye. Monster Quest Part 4. Pretty sweet. What can I say? I love being able to kill two birds with one stone. Especially when we're nice and efficient with our work. One other thing I will go ahead and mention here is sometimes when you're taking on enemies from a distance, there are some arts that you can use to reach the enemy and just start the battle right away. But honestly, I feel as though that's not the most efficient thing around. But again, it's really dependent on who you're using and what art you're using. You'll know if an art can reach the enemy if it starts glowing. In other words, if it's not grayed out.
With you around, there ain't no stopping us. Totally. Don't get cocky. Stay focused. Stay sharp. Yes, sir.
Okay. Ew. Looks like we got something not too far off the beaten path here. So one other thing I will mention here is that from playthrough to playthrough, the map that you discover in one playthrough is not uncovered during your next one. So that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, one thing I will mention over here around this part of the swamp, we'll be encountering a poisonous hazard. As you're making your way through this hazard, you'll slowly lose health. And I'm pretty sure this health is percentage based. And you take damage like every couple of seconds. It depends solely on the hazard. But most of the time you really shouldn't worry too much about taking too much damage from the hazard. So, nothing to worry about here. Looks like we got a key item over here. Oh, hello. Hi, how you doing? Honestly, I was not expecting this thing to just target me out of nowhere. Well, honestly, there are just a ton of birds just sitting on the trees. Just sitting there, waiting for their prey to come swooping down to be like, ha-ha! Time for dinner! Dead. Okay, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. Regardless, though, be on your guard basically at all times, especially around here. Even during the day. Although I feel as though most enemies around here are roughly around level 25, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, yay, Shining Pond.
I've been getting careless. Sorry, I got focus.
So, one other thing worth keeping in mind is if you happen to approach a hazardous area while taking fall damage, combining that along with the fall damage is just a big fat no-no. How so? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Just keep in mind that while traversing through these hazardous places, you can't really stay in here for very long, especially early on in the game, as eventually you are going to die, and that's not exactly something we call fun. And funny enough, most hazardous places that you can walk through, they honestly, no, they slow you down a lot. They slow you down quite a lot. In other words, yes, okay, I don't even know. I think what I'm trying to say is, be careful when traversing through hazardous areas such as that, and you should be fine. Anyway, welcome to our next stop, the Exile Fortress. Blech. I don't even know what the hell I just said. I guess that just goes to show that I'm really not exactly in touch today.
job.
There is definitely a point of fighting these kinds of enemies, trust me. Mainly it's for the materials, if anything else.
It has a very strange glow.
It's a remnant of the High Intia. They've hidden themselves away in the upper reaches now. But at one time, they controlled this whole area.
Good for them.
It's the perfect place to get some shut-eye. The lamp will keep the monsters away. We'll be safe if we rest here.
How do you know if that's really the case or not?
Ah, the breeze feels so good. It's so peaceful. You know, Shulk, I hope every day can be like this, always.
You will pay for what you've done! You will know the pain and suffering you caused the Emperor and Fiora!
Do you wish to change it? The future?
Has it been that long?
Dixon.
14 years since I found you on that mountain. Seems like yesterday.
I owe it all to you. If you hadn't found me that day, I wouldn't be here now discovering the world.
Forgive me, Shulk. Sorry I couldn't save your folks.
Don't be.
Now I think about it, that was when I found the Monado as well. This might be crazy talk, but maybe you and the Monado are part of some higher plan.
Unfortunately!
Not at all. But I know that my mum and dad left me it. The Monado was their final gift to me. At least, that's how I used to think of it. That's why I want to discover its true power and help defeat the Mechon. But so far, I've just been creating piles of Mechon scrap.
So you don't just want to study it in a lab after all?
This sword... there must be some way.
Finally decided to join us, Shulk.
Sorry, guys. Didn't sleep a wink.
Right then. Time to move on. How far now?
We'll be there soon enough. The High Intia ruins are just ahead.
Even though that is technically our next stop, that's not where we're going to be going. At least not yet. Why that is? Simply put, we got some quests to take care of around here, first and foremost.
It'll take more than that to slow us down. Cool. Let's keep this up.
Well, I did not quite mean to do that. Well, whatever, it ain't a big deal. Anyway, let's keep on moving. There's definitely a point of coming over here. That point is, believe it or not, there's actually a few things I kind of want to take care of. First, there's actually a pretty important collectible that I'm going to be picking up right around here. The second thing is that there is a quest that we need to take care of. And funny enough, this particular quest, it can be taken on in one of two ways. You can either charge right in through the front door like Leroy Jenkins, or you could be smart and proceed through the back door instead. The back door is honestly safer, just simply due to the fact that the number of enemy forces behind the front door is pretty substantial. And even if you are of a high level, you can easily get destroyed in a matter of seconds.
Follow my lead. Let me at 'em. Everyone, do your best.
Okay, over here we have a unique monster, the aggressive Concilius. Regardless, this thing can be a bit of a pain in the butt, but really he isn't too bad.
Against the odds, we choose to fight. Blossom dance.
Get smacked. Oh man, I love Dumb Man so much. AKA the undescribable Duncan. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that behind. I'm honestly surprised that that unique monster's friends didn't decide to join us. It's kind of interesting to see. Well, that was easy enough.
Anyone? Let's stay focused.
Okay. I think there's another unique monster over here. Maybe? I'm not too sure. Then again, maybe I'm just crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy.
Don't lose focus. Let me at 'em. I'm ready.
Okay. Okay.
To slow us down. Piece of cake. Let's not lose our heads though.
I did not mean to take everything. I double tapped the A button like a freaking fool. So anyway, there's a reason why I'm coming over here. Or I'm heading over here, rather. Okay, never mind. I guess it was just for that lemon stone. Kidding. So anyway, as I said, this particular quest, as you can see, there's a couple of different ways we can go around here. There's obviously the front door, which is not exactly ideal. There's also the back door, which is the best way of tackling this quickly. If you manage to find the rear door key, then you can just head on up this alternate pathway up here and just proceed onward. It is a pretty skinny cliff, so be sure to keep this in mind as you're making your ascent. It's pretty easy to fall down and get hurt, and that's not exactly something you want to do. Especially around this height, as you could probably, you'll more than likely die. Here we are, here's the rear entrance, and here's our target. You're a little bit too slow. Kasha told secret to Ignis. But Kasha's so happy you came to save her. Okay. So that's taken care of. Let's have some fun.
Let's go. Let me at 'em. I'm ready. Wizard!
Time to get to work.
Okay, my turn. Split edge. Right, go. Dive, go back.
Well, that was definitely not the chain attack I was after. I was kind of hoping to have maybe been able to continue the chain attack to really get some work in, but nope. Apparently that wasn't happening. But at least the rare monster's taken care of. Nice one, Shulk. Believe it or not, that Monado art that the Shulk used, you don't get that until much later in the game from a quest. It's a really damn good art, too. I can't quite remember what it's called, but still, it's deadly. It really is. And let me tell you, AI Shulk loves to flex like no other fool. Like, he flexes so much that he'll be more than happy to show off that he has the power of the Monado. And when I say that, I really mean the true power of the Monado. It's quite fun, trust me. Anyway, I'm going to head back to the Nopon camp over here. That way I can finish this quest up. Okay. Alright. That one's all done. And we got some nice jungle clothes, too. Plus some more quests. That indeed is a problem. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard. In fact, we basically gathered almost all the materials already. Thankfully, the others shouldn't be too hard to get our hands on. And if anything else, we can always roam around a bit. Okay. Let's see what you got. Giant's Treasure. Very interesting. Believe it or not, the Giants actually have a pretty important piece of history here on the world of Bionis. More on that way later. And I mean way, way later. Okay. Yeah, here we go. This is where what I wanted to do. Making camp. And no, we don't need an electronic apparatus known as Modern Warfare 2019 in order to make camp. We can do that anywhere. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I'll stop.
Let's keep this up. No mercy. Don't get
Okay.
careless, guys.
Get smacked. Alright, so when it comes to hunting for materials, we are looking for something in particular around here. And I believe these things only drop from silver chests, and if not, they have a very low chance to drop from a regular wooden chest. So it's the glowing Upa seed. Chupa Woopa. Okay, that is probably not the right lyric that I was thinking of, but regardless though, it's a thing. We're looking for it, and we need to smack enemies to get it.
Let's not lose our heads, though. Let's stay focused.
One other very nice thing about doing quests like this, even if you don't get the item you're looking for, at the very least you are getting some valuable experience, SP, as well as AP. So that is pretty damn sweet, if I do say so myself. Especially when you're playing a regular new game, not New Game Plus. Just saying.
Don't get careless, guys.
It can come quite in handy.
We'll take more than that to slow us down. Let's stay focused. Who else wants some?
Excellent. That part is done. On to the next one. Funny enough, I did notice there was a exclamation point, and when I say that, I mean a gray one, indicating that there is a quest not too far off from our previous destination, which was that fortress that we were at not too long ago. So, the reason why I bring that up is because, yeah, that's the start of another quest line and also another interaction with another named NPC. So in other words, it's important. It is kind of out of the way though, but even so, it's still worth visiting. Next.
Let's stay focused.
Nothing but ordinary hides. Ordinary hides everywhere. You worry about your own hide. Nice mess up. So, one other thing I haven't really mentioned yet is that the timing when it comes to doing the start affinity and really anything that involves pushing the B button, that's been adjusted from the original release, from the Wii and also the 3DS. On the Wii and 3DS, that timing was a lot tighter. In other words, it was faster. They slowed it down to make the timing much easier to pull off. So, that's pretty damn nice if I do say so myself. It really does make things a lot easier and also makes things a lot more consistent in my mind. And this is coming from me being a filthy casual of this game. Although I seem to go a bit far and beyond when it comes to casual play. And when I say that, I mean like I'm going after the quests and stuff. Again, I'm not really going to be getting into speedrunning this game ever. But even so. Okay. Fancy wolf hide. Kind of funny how it's a play on words from a wolf, but replace the W with a V. A lot of enemies in this game are like that. We have brogs instead of frogs. Wolves. Okay.
Let's stay focused. Don't lose focus. Leave it to right.
So one other thing I will mention here is be careful when you're fighting enemies around hazardous places. For whatever reason, your party just loves to hang out in hazardous places like it's absolutely nothing. In fact, they kind of bathe in it. It's kind of disturbing how stupid the AI can be sometimes. Thankfully, even if your AI's health drops down, they're not going to die. As long as you're not in battle, that is. And I'm pretty sure most hazards can't insta-kill you. The worst they can do is drop you down to 1 HP. Unless you are roaming around in the field, and you're the party leader, of course. In which case, your party leader can still die. Which is not fun. Just saying. Alright, time to take on some more wolves. And yes, I know what I said. Time for victory is ours! I love it when I'm able to do that. It's kind of funny. Okay. At least this one's done. Alright, come on, let me talk to you. Well, thankfully this quest didn't take too long to complete. You did have to gather quite a large number of resources, but even so, it wasn't that bad. And I think that was the last one of his quest line, at least for now. However, there is still some other stuff we need to take care of around here. So our next stop is once again going to be the Forsaken Fortress-like place. Why are we heading back there? It's quite simple. There is another sort of treasure we need to pick up. And believe it or not, this treasure only becomes accessible when you start this quest. Otherwise, you won't be able to. So, that's something to keep in mind. One other thing I haven't mentioned yet is, believe it or not, those notifications that keep popping up about the different stats, different status ailments, and things of that nature, you can actually disable those from the System Options menu. So, yeah, that's something worth mentioning. Oh, looks like the item I'm looking for is over here. Whee! Okay. So, fun fact about climbable objects such as vines, ladders, etc. You can actually start descending a little bit, and after you do so, you can just push the B button to release your grip, allowing you to descend the climbable object extremely quickly. Just keep in mind that you are still susceptible to fall damage, and you can still very easily die. So one other thing worth mentioning here is that even though this waypoint system is nice to have, sometimes it can lead you a bit on a wild goose chase, trying to find or trying to get to where you need to get to. Ouch. That was me being a dummy. Oh boy. Oh well, no big deal. Like I said, there's really no penalty for dying in this game. The only thing that happens is that you just go back to your previous landmark that you visited. And let me tell you, there's plenty of landmarks you can go to. There's so many that can quite make your head spin. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Sometimes it's a better idea to just simply kick the bucket than it is to stick around an area that you really shouldn't. Just saying. Although fast traveling is there for a reason. One other thing worth mentioning here is that even though it seems like there's not much of a penalty for dying, if you do die, whatever the party gauge was, it drops back down to 0. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay. Let's finish this up nice and quickly. There we are.
Totally. Don't get cocky. Stay focused. Stay sharp. Yes, sir.
I should open the hidden door. Okay. So it appears that this item I was looking for really wasn't too far off from where I was looking into. As first off, you kind of have to dig for the hidden key. But in order to get to the hidden key, you have to defeat the guardians of the hidden key. Which, again, is not too hard. So long as you've leveled up properly. If you are a bit underleveled, don't worry about it. There's no shame in going back and just completing the quest later. So long as it doesn't have a little stopwatch next to it, you'll be fine. Alright. Wow. Neato. Nice gold chest. What do we got in here? Like I said, when it comes to equipment management and inventory selection, keep in mind that as long as you have 6 of them, like 1 for each person in your party, you'll be fine. Any more than that is basically overkill. You don't have to worry about anything like equipment deterioration or anything like that. This isn't The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where your equipment can break at random. Well, not random, but even so, I'm just saying. You don't have to worry about your equipment breaking, ever. All you have to worry about is just simply making sure everyone is fully kitted and ready to go. Hey boys, thank you for allowing me passage to this lovely, lovely place. It's funny how this hidden door really isn't all that hidden, so long as you know where to look. Also, I'm pretty sure up here, as soon as you open this box, a pretty powerful monster is going to come out. Looks like we need to place an offering of some kind. Or not. Okay, then. Well, it seems like we kind of need to place an offering first. Why did I just repeat myself? Well, okay. Again, not really anything too spectacular here. Although I'm pretty sure this little NPC here is more than willing to give us some more information about this particular treasure of the giants. In fact, I think we're about to get started. Okay. Put offering on altar. Offering and rituals and things very important for giants. Okay. That doesn't seem too difficult. White spiders. Ooh. This is gonna be kind of nasty. Alrighty. So this particular object that this person's telling us about, thankfully we've already picked this thing up quite some time back. And since we already have the object, we can immediately start the next part of the quest. Which is literally as simple as just place the thing on the object and watch as the fireworks happen. Which again is not too hard. In fact, it's so easy, even a caveman can do it. Trust me, there is a lot of running around back and forth when doing these quests. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, but most quests are entirely optional. The only ones that are not optional are the story-based quests, and there's not too many of those in the game. And even so, it's not like you're going to be running around like a headless chicken all the time. Most of those quests are very straightforward. So, yeah, nothing to worry about there. Also, once you open up this secret passage here, you can just head up this way without too much of a problem. Like at all, really. Here we are, time to place the offering. Hi. Well, this is gonna be a nasty little battle. Level 32. That shouldn't be too bad, but be sure to come here prepared if you know what's good for you. It's always wise to try to come here as well prepared as possible. Wow. Very nice. Damn, nice one, Ryan. That was insane. Very well done, my friend. By the way, you don't have to necessarily fight these spiders at all. Once you place down the offering, then the next part of the quest is automatically started. You can just simply fast travel if you're fast enough. In other words, if you don't feel like fighting the spiders, don't. Fast travel and you're all set. Let's see. Again, once you get the treasure, all you really have to do is just simply fast travel back to the Nopon camp and you're fine. Daring of the Giants. Okay. Very, very true. Oh, hello. What the heck is this? Okay. Basically, what just happened on my phone, it's basically saying something about, something discontinuing. And I'll read more into that later. So, not a big deal. Okay. Anyway, before we head on off to our next destination, there is another quest I kind of want to get started around here. It may not seem like much, but trust me, it's well worth your time. Got a lot of bunnets around here. It's pretty interesting. Goodbye. Kind of interesting that a lot of the bunnets around here are all starting to attack us. I mean, it makes sense. We are kind of targeting their leader. And even if they send a whole army after us, we can just smack them upside the head without too much of a problem. Especially when you're utilizing chain attacks. Good lord. That's when you can really wreck faces in. This is why I love using chain attacks so much. You can really rack up the damage, and depending on the affinity between all your party members, the chances of you continuing the chain attack increases that much further. Ooh, what's wrong? Oh, you're just hungry. Attacked you near glowing obelisk. Sure, that shouldn't be too hard. Alright, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Considering that we've already collected one of the things already, getting the remaining items that we're looking for shouldn't be too much of a challenge. By the way, one thing I will mention here is that even though this waypoint system gives you a general idea of exactly where to go, it doesn't mean you have to follow it 100%. You can take shortcuts. Just keep in mind, though, is that sometimes some shortcuts may end up getting you killed. So, depending on where you go, it really all depends on where you go. Just be careful, otherwise you're going to get yourself hurt and it's not going to be fun.
No mercy. Don't get careless, guys. This won't take long.
Ah, crap. Damn it, I wanted to run! I hit the wrong button. I meant to hit B, I hit A, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. By the way, once an enemy stops pursuing you, you can just simply turn back the way you came and you'll be fine. Wow, that wasn't even worth it. That's kind of sad. But whatever, there's still plenty of other enemies we can take on here. In fact, here's a unique monster right over here. Neat. Wow, that was easy. Well, that is considering the fact that all of my arts are maxed out. Of course it's going to be easy. Still kind of interesting that I still did not get the thing I was looking for. That's kind of unfortunate. Well, whatever. No big deal. Again, there's still plenty of enemies to just smack around upside the head. So, one thing I will go ahead and mention here is that even though there may be some enemies that come out at night, even if you're fighting them at the start of nighttime and then it changes to daytime, they don't just magically disappear in the middle of the battle when the time of day changes. It's not like Final Fantasy 15 when it does just that. No. Instead, what happens is that you just continue fighting as per usual. Nothing really fancy happens, and that's really all there is to it. Also, the whole reason why I'm over here is for that, the Rainbow Remnant. Believe it or not, the Rainbow Remnant is a key item needed for an upcoming quest. And it's a story quest at that. I brought this up briefly, but there are a few items that we will be needing to pick up in order to progress further into the game. And thankfully, most of these items... Oh, great. Most of these items we can just pick up right away, without much resistance whatsoever. There we are. No problems here. Okay. Very nice to know that this particular quest is finally done. So, that's pretty sweet. This should help you back up on your feet. Very nice. Glad to see that you're feeling much better now. It's kind of funny considering that his quests, even though it sounds like he might die if you don't help him right away, he'll stick around basically for the entire adventure. No, seriously. Honestly, at that point, all he really needed was rest. Even if he hasn't eaten in days. Just saying. Okay. So, for this one, all we really need to do here is just beat up a bunch of monsters. As far as which monsters, thankfully he'll, just tell us to beat up a bunch of bunnets. They're just outside of this cave. Which, again, knowing bunnets, they don't put up much of a fight. With the exception of one particular species, which won't come into play until much later in the game. Even so, just saying. Whee.
Don't give up. I'm right next to you. No mercy. Don't get careless, guys. This one's mine.
Ha! Get smacked. It's kind of interesting to see that, like, as soon as we killed one, we immediately got pulled into another battle. It's kind of funny. No, I don't want to leave these things. I want to take it. 4 pieces of Bunna secret wood for it. Another future quest. Interesting. Okay. By the way, these bunnets whom we need to take down, oddly enough, it's only a specific species of bunnet that we really need to worry about here. That would be the ogre bunnia. The others, you don't have to worry about. Okay. Just got a few more to take out, and we'll be fine.
Let's stay focused. Man, what a bunch of jokers.
Gotta love how every single one of these things are nothing but jokers. I mean, it's to be expected. We're kind of smacking low-level enemies being at level 31 right now.
Keep your cool. It'll take more than that
Okay.
to slow us down. Man, what a bunch of jokers. Let's stay focused. No mercy.
Just a
Don't
couple
get
more
carried
left.
away. This
Or more or less
one's
one
mine.
more left that we need to take down.
Prepare for a chain attack. Victory is
Nice one, Ryan.
heads on. Piece of
That was nuts. And pretty damn sweet. A venom platypus. I wonder what that would look like. Why am I the only one who imagines preparing a platypus from Phineas and Ferb, but he's purple instead of green? I guess I'm going crazy. Whatever. It's no big deal. At least this quest is finally done for now. So, no need to worry about this. What do you have for us now, little boy? Forgot something important. I'm sure that totally won't be the next quest or anything. Ha! Kidding. Another monster that wants to eat him. Oh dear, that is indeed quite the problem. I wonder what this thing is all about. Okay. Yeah, that should be pretty easy. So we just need to defeat the Sunlake Skevak. I believe it's a quest-specific unique monster that only appears during the daytime, which thankfully we have more than enough time to take this thing on. And even if we don't, we can obviously change the clock if we need to. So let's see here. Looks like the Shining Pond would be a good starting point. Okay.
I've been getting careless. Stay strong.
Okay. Alright. Our target is just around the horizon, right over here. Didn't realize I didn't mark that location. That's interesting. Along with that landmark, Silent Obelisk. Well, at least I have it now, so that's a good thing. God, this is annoying, especially when the enemy is on the move. That is probably one of the most annoying things about hunting monsters that are flying around in the air. And that is, sometimes it moves around so damn fast that you just don't have much of a chance of hitting it. Even with a lure tactic, and the only way to get come to you is to have it spot you within its gaze of death. There we go. All done with that.
Let's keep this up. Who else wants some?
Okay. Glad that one's done. So that's pretty sweet. There is one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, I think. Then again, maybe I've mentioned it in the first session, but might as well go ahead and mention it now. Anyway, this thing I'm talking about is during a regular playthrough, when you first defeat a unique monster, you'll gain an Affinity coin, which you can use on the skill links in the skill tree to link one particular character's skills with another character. I haven't really shown this off, like, at all. And the reason why is because if you were there for the last session, I accidentally spoiled something which I shouldn't have. Thankfully, it was only for a second, and even so, it wasn't that noticeable, but if you're one of those people who freeze frame videos every now and again for reasons, yeah, that was a thing. It was a mistake, and what's even dumber was that I knew it existed, but I kind of forgot about it. It kind of phased out of my mind during the ending phase, and I didn't even realize that it was still a thing until I started uploading it, and it was like about 20% uploaded. Funny enough, I did try to fix this mistake after it was uploaded using the YouTube video editor, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work. I tried adding a blur filter to it, but again, it did nothing but waste my freaking time. Perhaps it was because I didn't have the blur filter apply for long enough, or the system just glitched and it just didn't process the video properly, so it reverted back to the original. So that could very well be a thing. So, Zanzidan appears to not be feeling so well today. Okay, this shouldn't be too hard. So again, all we really need to do here is just bring him this Nopon potion, which should theoretically cure him of his illness. I did not mean to start a trade, but whatever. You know, terrain defense is pretty nice. Although I think with this, it really isn't worth it. Considering it is a lower grade and I already have a bunch of higher grade items, yeah, not worth it. Okay, moving on. Let's get this next quest done out the way if we can. Thankfully, this one won't take too long. At least it shouldn't. What's really funny is that even though we're only about an hour and 20 minutes into this session, or just about, we are getting a lot done. It may seem like we're just running around in circles all day, but trust me, there is definitely a reason I'm doing this. Just simply because I want to show off as much of the game as I can. And there's a lot that this game has to offer, trust me. There's so much to offer in this game, it's not even funny. And with this version of the game, Definitive Edition, there's even more that the game has to offer. Maybe not so much in the main game, but definitely for the extra story. Alright, that was easy enough.
Man, what a bunch of jokers.
There is one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is, if you want to quickly snap the camera back behind your character, all you have to do is just simply push the right analog stick in, and you'll be fine. You can also just push the right analog stick in, get the camera back behind you, and then just move it again. And you're fine. You're good to go. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that I did mention briefly that your starting item capacity is limited quite substantially, but as you progress through the main campaign, your max item capacity will increase over time, and it increases in increments throughout the entire story. And thankfully in New Game Plus, if you're playing this version of the game specifically, the max capacity items are carried over. However, if you're starting a New Game Plus playthrough on either the Wii or 3DS version, then it basically goes back to its original default. Hence the reason why you're only able to carry over a certain amount of items, accessories, etc. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know why that was a thing in the original, and why... I don't know why that was a thing in the original, but whatever. At least in this version, you don't have to worry about it at all. Funny enough, I found out about this by watching a speedrun of this game via New Game Plus. Just saying. It's actually pretty damn neat. Okay, this shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so... Whoops. That's kind of annoying. How sometimes when you mean to fast travel, you accidentally trade. You accidentally go to trade with an NPC rather than fast traveling. If you want to fast travel, just face away from the NPC and you should be fine. Okay. Thankfully, this particular quest isn't too difficult. You just go to the Shining area. The Shining Lake area, which, funny enough, that is a secret area in this game. And I did show off secret areas a bit. Basically, secret areas are areas that you can discover throughout your adventure, which will award you a lot of experience, as well as SP and AP. More so than landmarks and just locations in general. Which makes perfect sense, considering how secretive they can be sometimes. Okay. Quest completed. Pretty sweet. And we got ourselves another Pioneer. Nothing really too fancy here, just another nice weapon for Dunban. What seems to be the problem this time? More caviar. Sure, okay. Deliver to a Nopon named, Dediba? Okay. So this particular quest, we can technically start it. However, in order to find this Nopon, I'm pretty sure they're located in another area entirely. So, we won't be able to get this particular quest done for quite some time. But that's okay. Starting the quest, honestly, is enough for me for now, so that's okay.
I've been getting careless. Sorry, I got focus.
Alrighty. So now that that's finally done and out the way, our next order of business is actually going to be proceeding a bit further forward. Believe it or not. There is definitely a reason why I'm heading this way. First off, though, I kind of want to deal with these things, the Wind Nebula. And the sole reason is just to see if I can get myself some elemental chunks from them. So one thing I will go ahead and mention here is that Nebula-like enemies tend to try to use a self-destruct attack when their HP is close to 0. So if you happen to have a chain attack ready to go, don't be afraid to unleash it. Unleash it just before you defeat it. Just so that way you're able to completely annihilate the thing before it even has a chance to explode. Which, let me tell you, that's not fun, because if they do explode, like I said, they not only deal a lot of damage, but you don't get anything from them whatsoever. No experience, no AP, no SP, nothing. Nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. Not even nada 3. Also, you may be wondering, what the hell is it I'm doing over here? This is a very high level area, as you can tell. There's a lot of level 80, like, enemies around here. There's a reason why I'm over here, as I'm pretty sure there is a pretty important item. Please don't turn this way. Please don't turn this way. Thank you. As I was saying, I'm pretty sure there is a pretty important quest item I need to pick up around here. Which, that's gonna be pretty difficult to do. Especially if we're playing this kind of Metal Gear Solid style. Come on, keep moving. Move across the bridge. There you go, good boy. I'm surprised that Ryan didn't just alert that thing. I guess it makes sense. Since it only has a single icon above it, which is the sight icon, even if you shout next to the thing, it's not like it'll instantly know that you're there. Okay. I guess heading that way was kind of pointless. So if you want to be safe, the best thing for you to do is just simply head down the river. It's as simple as that. Anyway, welcome to the Satorl statues. As you can see, there's quite a lot of things that, our next destination marker is actually right there. But, upon reaching that particular destination, the next major quest, or next story quest starts. And again, I kind of want to pick up the quest items before before proceeding. I think I managed to pick up a couple of these items beforehand, so even if we did miss one of these things, it really isn't that big of a deal. And besides, these quest items are always in a designated spot. So if you memorized exactly where these things are, you should be able to pick them up no problem. Just one thing to keep in mind is that while you're exploring these caves around here, you will have to deal with a raging river that's constantly pushing you and your entire party around. So, be careful when traversing through the river. That's all there is to it. There we are. Okay, let's head on up.
The upper regions are through that entrance. You gotta go through Makna Forest first. Prison Island is at the Bionis head, just above Makna Forest.
It pains me to say it, but this is the point where I turn back. I must see to the survivors, and I'm also very concerned about Colony 9.
I understand. Thank you for everything.
I might have said a few things I shouldn't have back in the mine. Forgive me.
No, it's okay.
I owe you my life, young man. I'll never forget it, heir to the Monado. Medic, will you stay with them?
I want to help Shulk. The Mekon must pay for what they did. And I'm sure Gaddo is still alive somewhere. If he is, I have to find him.
Find him for me too. Good luck.
Sharla, I want to go with the Tharon.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I've never seen anything cooler than Shulk smashing Mekon with the Monado. But I'm just slowing you down.
No way, kid. You just need to shape up like me.
It's okay. I've made up my mind. Compared to you guys, I know I'm pretty useless. But that's cool, because I know what I can do. I'm gonna go back to the colony and help the survivors rebuild their lives.
You'll do us proud, kid.
Good luck, Juju.
Thanks.
Shulk, Ryan, keep Sharla safe for me.
Dixon, are you leaving too?
The Mekon may be gone from Colony 6 now, but that doesn't mean we've seen the last of them. When they launch another attack, and they will, Colony 9's gonna need my help.
Yeah. I guess you're really needed at the colony.
This ain't the last you'll see of me. You should be all right for now. Look after the Monado.
You can bet on it. We won't let the colony down.
You'll make us proud, Shulk. You, on the other hand, need to buck up your ideas. How else are you gonna protect Shulk?
Thanks for the heads up, Dixon.
Good luck. See ya.
Later, Dixon. Don't be a stranger now.
Can't say I feel so good about deceiving these kids.
What's that you say?
Oh, just mumbling. Forget I said anything.
I wonder what he could mean by deceiving us. Well, you'll know as we progress. Anyway, time to get this next story quest started. So, in order to proceed, what we need to do here is gather 3 mystical remnants and then perform a ancient High Entia ritual that just basically involves placing some stones and then fighting a monster as soon as it's summoned. And it's literally as simple as that. I don't exactly remember for sure why this is a thing, but I think according to High Entia lore, when High Entia comes of age, they perform this ritual and prove that they are ready to become adults within the High Entia. At least I think that's how it used to work. But later on, that became outlawed, or more or less it was abolished, and it changed to an entirely different sort of ceremony altogether. Which makes sense, considering how dangerous it can be. Hell, not a lot of people made it out of it alive. So, yeah. Here it is. Here's the thing. Say hello to the Satoru Guardian. This thing really shouldn't be too bad of an enemy to take on. It honestly shouldn't. The Satoru Guardian actually has a pretty unique art.
What a bunch of jokers. Piece of cake.
Okay. So that particular art that Satoru Guardian unleashed, it's an aura-based art that increases its level. In other words, its stats become even higher and it becomes stronger overall. There is a way you can technically get rid of that aura, but at this point in the game, you don't have such an ability. At least not yet. Not unless you're playing New Game Plus. But for New Game players, yeah, you kind of have to deal with it as it comes. But thankfully, the Satoru Guardian really isn't that bad when it comes to even its most deadly art. So now that Guardian has been defeated, we can now make our way towards Makna Forest. But we have a bit of a problem.
Huh? The lift don't work.
Looks like it's been broken for a while. We'll have to find another way up.
Another way? You don't mean climb up there?
We may have to.
Come on, you can't be serious. Why'd someone build a lift that don't work?
No complaining. let's start looking for a place we can climb up.
So, before we proceed, there was something I kind of wanted to check out. There's supposed to be another activity that unlocks very shortly. And again, it's another thing that is considered optional, but it doesn't appear to be coming into play right now. So anyway, in order to reach our next destination, we have to climb to the very top of the structure manually. It's going to be a pretty long and arduous climb, so be prepared. Thankfully, it's not that hard. It really isn't. All you really have to do here is just stick to the left-hand side of the structure, for the most part, and just climb the vines as you see them. And if you can't proceed any further to the left, start heading to the right, and you should be fine. Again, just keep climbing as high as you can, and eventually, you'll get to where you need to go. It might take a little bit of time, but trust me, it's worth it. So, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet is you can actually skip the starting climbing animation by jumping into the climbable structure. If you do this, you can skip the initial climbing animation, and you can just start climbing right away. In other words, this is the fastest way to climb up a structure. And to climb down, just simply let go. Just let go of the structure by pushing B. And by the time you reach the bottom, be sure to grab back on, so that way you don't turn into a pancake. There we are. Welcome to the Statue Summit.
Ryan.
Ready to go, Shulk?
Yeah. But just hold on a minute.
What is it, Shulk?
It's about the Monado. I'd like to ask your permission to use it a little longer.
Why ask me?
The Monado was your sword, but I need it to achieve my goal. So...
Don't sweat it. You are far more skillful at wielding that thing than I ever was. Keep it. It's yours. Besides, I have a new sword. That old coot had the decency to forge this for me. I owe it to him to make the most of it.
Dunban.
You fought your way this far. That is proof enough the Monado has accepted you. Don't take my word for it. Believe in yourself, Shulk.
Believe in myself?
Never lying down. Never giving up. That's our pride and strength as Homs. And we have to make sure those metal monsters know it.
You're right.
Time to move, people. This prison island Shulk saw in his vision isn't getting any closer.
Too true, my friend. Too true. Alrighty, time to get moving. Time to head on up to the Makna Forest. First and foremost, welcome to the Terrible Terrace, which, believe it or not, is within the Bionis itself.
What is this place?
It's giving me the creeps.
At a guess, I'd say we're inside the Bionis. What is it, Shulk?
Oh, nothing. It's just that it feels like the Bionis isn't really dead.
Huh?
Wait a minute, Shulk. If the Bionis starts moving around, things won't look good for us. Let's just keep moving.
Right.
I don't know. Perhaps Shulk is on to something when he mentions that the Bionis isn't really dead. Who knows? Well, regardless, though, welcome to the Bionis interior. Believe it or not, we can't really do much of anything in here whatsoever, at least not yet. And what's even funny is that this place does have its own items that you can pick up for the Collectopedia. But you can't even do anything about this until much later in the game. So that is kind of lame. but really, it's not that big of a deal. I never expected to see anyone else in this place. You want to go up the top? Wait where water whooshes up. It'll shoot you really, really high. Funny enough, this is actually very, very true. It may seem like it's not exactly what we call safe hanging around in here, but one thing I've definitely seen speedrunners do is save the game just as they're approaching the lake area and then reload their save file just so they can reset the cycle of this thing and start whooshing up to the top right away. Also, for anyone who's looking to do like a no damage run in this game, it's impossible. Because there are several places where you have to go, and you have to take damage in order to reach those places. So, yeah, just saying, not exactly possible, don't even bother. That looks familiar. So it appears that...
Ace Nemesis. Your frame is complete. All that remains is the soul transfer. That damage. Does a weapon exist that can melt face armor? How?
Lady Vinaya, Master Egil wishes to see you.
Understood. Tell him I will see him when this face is complete.
Acknowledged.
I have fulfilled my duty. You and only you can bring about a new age on Maconis. No, the entire world. My mistress, Lady Mayneth.
Lady Mayneth. That sounds quite an important figure, don't you think? And that face that was in that particular machine, that looked oddly familiar. Although it really couldn't be, could it? I mean, the person I'm thinking of, she should be dead. And yet, it seems as though someone who looks scarily similar to her is in that machine. I wonder what that could be all about. Well, we'll find out much later on in the game. How much later? You'll soon see what I mean. Whoa!
Lady Melia, withdraw to the Nopon village and let us handle this beast.
No, Exile. Do you really expect me to leave you, run away and save myself?
Permit us this once, Lady Melia. It is our honor and our duty to protect you with our lives. Do not fear for us. Flee.
I will not. I cannot return to the capital with this monster still standing.
Whoa.
Exile, bestow the light of your life unto me.
Well, that was quite a spectacular little show.
Who turned up the heat?
I've never seen such a dense forest.
Me neither. How much further?
This must be the back of the Bionis. If Shulk's vision is right, we've still got a long way to go.
You mean go on in this heat? I'm sweatier than a brog's armpit.
We'll have to search for the best route. Sadly, until we find a way, we'll have to put up with Rhine's stench.
Charlotte?
Nice.
We must be outside the tower.
Welcome, true heir to the Monado.
Father!
Weak and pathetic.
What or who are you?
You will pay for what you've done. You will know the pain and suffering you caused the Emperor and Fiora!
A silver-faced Mekon. And who was that girl? These visions show me people and places I've never seen. If only I could find out what they mean, we could use them to our advantage.
Look over there. A rope bridge. It looks Hom's made.
Not Homs, Nopon. Though a lot of them have settled in our colonies, the Nopon are originally native to Makna Forest.
Do you think they'd know the way to the Bionis head?
I can't say. But walking around in circles isn't going to achieve anything. Our best bet is to look for their village.
Sounds like a plan to me. Anyway, welcome to the next major destination, Makna Forest. As you can see, this place is quite dense, even at night. So anyway, within this wondrous place, it's quite a large jungle filled with a lot of verticality. What I mean is actually pretty simple. There's a lot of things around here, a lot of places to explore, plenty of places to go, and there's also plenty of enemies around here that are more than willing to say, "Hi, how are you doing, buddy? Wanna dance, little boy?" Okay. So getting to our next destination isn't too hard. However, of course I am going to be taking this time to explore and also find and take on more and more side quests. Let's see what you got for sale. Probably nothing of use, and that is a big fat no. Okay then. Well, that was definitely fun. Let's talk to you. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard. Also, believe it or not, this Nopon merchant actually has quite a number of quests tied to him. Thankfully, you can access them all at once, just by simply talking to him again and again. Also, apologies if I'm scrolling through the text too fast. Again. I don't know why I do this. Perhaps it's because I've only just played through this game like a few months ago. And more or less I just finished it a few months ago. So I know exactly what it is I need to do, where I need to go, most of the time. Although explaining things is a bit of a challenge within itself. What I mean by that is that there are still some things in this game that I truly do not understand. And believe it or not, it is still a bit of a learning experience. even no matter how many times I played through this game, I still don't understand every single mechanic that goes into this game. And there's so much to unravel in this game, it's not even funny. It's actually kind of baffling, especially when you're trying to understand how each character works and their playstyle, and really just understanding the characters in general, what they are built to do. There's plenty of room for experimentation and figuring out what should work for you and what doesn't.
This one's mine. Everyone, do your best. Final push. Save us from harm.
Get smacked.
Let's not lose our heads, though. Nice job.
Funny how Ryan says, don't lose our heads. God damn it. Okay, this shouldn't be too hard. There we are.
Nice job.
So anyway, this particular location here, it is a pretty substantial piece of I don't even know what I was trying to say. I think what I'm trying to say here is that this place is pretty damn big, and there's a lot of very cool set pieces throughout the entire forest. Honestly, Makna Forest is probably one of my favorite locations in this whole game, just solely due to the fact that there are so many awe-inspiring sights. And I'm definitely thrilled to be able to show all of these sights as we make our way through this game. Even though there are a lot of sights to behold in this wondrous place, that doesn't mean that everything is all safe and hunky-dory. Trust me, there's still a lot of dangers along the way. Huh, really? There's nothing here? Whee! Dead. God damn it. I thought maybe there was another way I could get down there, but... well, if all else fails, jump into the water. It may not necessarily break your spine, but it does make things a lot easier. Seriously, this works. If I don't miss the water. Good job, me. Lol. Okay, why don't we try that again, and hopefully this time we'll actually go spleesh rather than splat. There we go, much better. It's kind of funny how, in this game, jumping into the water from such an extreme height doesn't kill you. However, in real life, obviously, that would kill a person. Which, that would be really, really bad. Trust me. There was definitely a point of coming down here. And mainly it was for the landmark, but also for later in the game. How much later? Not too much later, believe it or not. We will be heading back down this way soon enough. So, one other thing I will go ahead and mention here is that, believe it or not, this place, I'm definitely a fan of the daytime variant of this particular place. Most daytime versions of songs of all the different locations in the game, speaking of devil and it happens, as I was saying, most daytime versions of songs are superior to their nighttime counterparts in several ways. Mainly it's more upbeat and just more adventurous. However, nighttime is more serene and more relaxing most of the time. There are some exceptions of places that actually have a better night theme, such as Satoru Marsh. But that's just me and my personal opinion. If anyone feels as though they disagree with me, feel free to let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you agree that the nighttime version of Satoru Marsh is superior to the daytime version of the song? Or are you more on the opposite end of the spectrum? let me know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions.
Prepare for the next fight. Cool. Let's keep this up.
Sweet.
No? Anyone?
Okay. Next. Funny enough, a lot of these places that we're going to be going to all take place all across these bridges. And funny enough, as I mentioned before, since this is technically an open world game, you can just jump into the water and go for a swim if you want. Albeit it's not exactly beneficial at this point in time, but still, you can get a hell of a view just by running across the bridge, or if you want to, just go for a nice long swim across the riverside. Just be careful not to swim too far, otherwise you'll fall to your doom. And even if that does happen, it's not that big of a deal. Just saying. Okay. Off the mushroom, let's get to work. So anyway, starting in Makna Forest, now we're going to be starting to encounter enemies that may or may not have a spike attached to them. I think I brought this up briefly in the last session, but this is especially apparent here. So, be careful of whom you're fighting and how you're fighting them, as you may end up getting yourself killed due to spike damage without even trying to. Okay, all done with that. Okay. Well, alrighty. Next thing I'm actually going to do is head over this way. I know it seems kind of weird that I'm going this way, but trust me, there's a reason. And the sole reason for this is simply because there is another secret area that I want to uncover. Plus, it's a pretty damn good view, too. One of the most awe-inspiring views in the entire game. And when we get there, you'll see what I mean. Even though I should be heading towards our next destination, I like taking my time in games like this. As, you know what they say, it's all about the journey, not the destination. There we are. Nicely done. Cool. I really did not want to fall back down, for sure. As falling down would mean not necessarily certain death. Okay. Let's try something a little different. Okay, I guess that didn't work out. So one thing you could do is intentionally lower your arms and start fleeing, but instead of actually fleeing, just run a bit further back into a more favorable battle arena. It's a pretty useful tactic when you're trying to lure enemies from a very dangerous area into a place that isn't so dangerous. Especially more so when they're trying to fight an enemy that loves to hang out in a hazardous place. And, yeah, that's really all you need to worry about when it comes to that. Nothing too fancy, nothing too difficult. Okay, let's keep moving. There's still plenty of things to find around here, for sure. Okay. As you can see, a lot of enemies around here are like around level 32-ish. If not, maybe around level 30, something like that. Regardless, though, they're right around our level, so we really shouldn't worry too much about whether or not we should not worry about whether or not they will overpower us. And even if they would, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, looks like we're finally here. Welcome to the Divine Sanctuary. Definitely one of my favorite spots in the entire game, if you couldn't tell. My god, look at this. Look at this beauty. This beautiful landscape and everything. As I said before, it's all about the journey, not the destination. Sometimes just taking the side paths can lead you to some pretty interesting discoveries. Some things you may not even know about or never even heard of until you reach that particular spot for like the first time. Same also applies to real life when you're trying to go from point A to point B. Unless you're going to work, in which case it is about the destination at that point. But still, I'm just saying, when you're going someplace new for a vacation or something, don't be afraid to explore. Okay. Let's see where we need to head to now. So, even though this version of the game brought along a lot of improvements, especially in the graphical department, that doesn't mean that the experience is completely flawless. For the most part, the game runs between 540p and 720p when playing in docked mode. However, if you're playing in handheld mode, then it can drop below standard definition. In other words, lower than even the Wii's resolution at times. And I feel as though Makna Forest is one of those places where this can happen. But another thing too is that sometimes the frame rate can be a bit unstable in places. Although it's really not that bad, all things considered. Trust me, I've experienced way worse experiences when it comes to frame rate. And even if it does drop below 30 FPS, which that can happen fairly often, it's not like it'll hamper the experience, and most of the time that does happen, it's usually during a battle. Or even just a little bit outside of battle, around a lot of different pieces of geometry. Especially if they have particle effects going on, such as exploring Satoru Marsh. Sometimes even that place can be a bit taxing on the Switch. But really, it's not like it'll drop the frame rate to like single digits or anything like that. Hell no. I think the worst it'll do is like drop it to around 20 FPS. Maybe something like that, but really nothing too fancy. Nothing too bad is what I mean. So, yeah. Breach 3. This is interesting. I believe if you're playing this game via a new game playthrough, like the first time you're playing through this game, Bridge 3 would not be fully assembled like this. This would not be assembled until quite a bit of a ways later on in the game. And when I say quite a bit of ways, I mean like after the next couple of areas. Trust me. That's basically what I'm saying here. Okay, no, I'm wrong. Bridge 3 is, it is supposed to be assembled. Same with Bridge 2. I was talking about Bridge 4. My mistake. False alarm. Apologies for that. What can I say? Sometimes I misremember things more than I should. But it is what it is. Trust me, it was definitely worth exploring these places. As I mentioned before, you just gain some very valuable experience, SP, and AP just by exploring. It's always worth your time to explore these wondrous places. Nice. Good old magic stone. Perhaps there's 7 of them and we can just summon an almighty god or something to grant us a wish. Or maybe 3, depending on the scale of the wish. Ha 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 ha! Just kidding. Sadly, that's not a thing in this game. That would be pretty cool if it was. Especially if that thing is voiced by Christopher Sabat. Believe it or not, that's actually a real thing. Not in this game, but definitely in real life. Just saying. Ooh. Hello there, Makna Brog. How you doing? Neato.
Let's not lose our heads, though.
So anyway, one thing I will mention here is that a lot of enemies around here are pretty damn big. And when I say big, I mean big! Like big chungus big. And then some. They're pretty damn large enemies, all things considered. Also, Sap Cave. There's a reason why I went over here. And it was solely due to the fact that I could pick up some key items. And trust me, those key items will come into play in just a short while.
Follow my lead. I'm ready. I hate these things.
Okay. So this particular enemy spike is an ether down. If you whack it with a physical attack, it'll decrease your ether. I believe it's decrease in ether defense? I'm not 100% sure. But even so, just saying. If you manage to topple an enemy, then their spike will be completely disengaged. Or if you use a particular Monado art, which we technically won't be getting until quite a bit later in the game, but if you're playing on New Game Plus, you can use it right away, of course. Just saying, though. If you manage to either use that or topple the enemy, then you don't need to worry so much about the enemy spike until they get back up on their feet or until this other effect wears off. Hello, Shawario. Welcome. Experiencing trouble. Huh. Well, that's good. I'm glad that my stream appears to be fine. Anyway, welcome to the stream. Glad you were able to make it. But I haven't heard about that. Perhaps I would need to check on Twitter later if such an issue has been reported.
Over there.
Hey, are you okay? You.
Oh my.
Shulk, what's wrong? Another vision?
Kind of. I'm not sure. But first, she needs help.
You're right. Let's look for somewhere safe.
There. I see a clearing under a giant tree. We can easily watch for anything approaching.
Okay.
Makes sense.
She hasn't sustained any serious injuries, but her condition is far from stable.
Do you know what's wrong with her?
Her symptoms suggest ether deficiency. It's well known that Homs are strongly affected by ether levels in the environment. But I've never seen symptoms like this before. A sudden drop in ether content in the surrounding atmosphere causes a reaction. Symptoms range from fatigue to nausea. But in this girl's case...
What can we do?
We're gonna need water-type ether crystals. I'll load the crystals into a cartridge to shoot from my rifle.
Eh? You're gonna shoot her?
No, silly. I'll fire them into the air and the dispersed ether will heal her.
To answer your question, Shawaria, no, I have not. I have not seen the new Bill and Ted movie. Hell, I haven't even seen any of their movies in general.
That's what I thought.
But the problem is the crystals. We can't just use any old crystal. They must be as pure as possible. This area must have a water source nearby. We should search there first.
I spotted a waterfall a little way back. What do you think, Charlotte? Would a waterfall produce pure crystals?
I can't think of a better place.
Then it's decided. I'll search for the crystals.
Hey, you're not going on your own.
I'll be okay. I need you to look after the group. We're short on water too, so I'll fill up our flasks.
Hey, good idea. Take care, man.
So, at this point, we're going to be on our own for a little bit as we take on another little story quest. So for this one, we just need to head to the lakeside and get the ether crystals, which is literally just the red orb we pick up right here and now.
Huh?
What the?
Who are you?
Hello there.
Hello to you.
Hello.
How unusual. It is quite rare to see a Homs in this region.
Speaking of the devil, are you one too?
I suppose you're wondering why I am here in that case.
Yes, please
Then permit
explain.
me to introduce myself. My name is Alvis.
Nice to meet you.
Alvis? My name's...
It's Shulk.
How do you know my name?
Isn't it?
How did you know that?
Wielder of the Monado, defender of Colony 9, the hero that has every Mechon running. You're famous amongst all Homs.
I guess that makes sense, given the context.
They're here.
Huh?
Who are they?
The Monado emits a particular ether wavelength in its ground state. It must have drawn them.
Seriously, who are them? Whoa! Hello!
What are they?
What do you think they are?
Alvis, get out of the way! I'll deal with this myself. From the left. Then I'll go.
Get smacked.
Huh?
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
How? Now, from above. It can't be. I saw its movement before it struck. How can it...
It is a Telephia.
Telephia?
They can read your mind.
Really?
Whether you have a vision or not, if they know your next move, it's all in vain.
So is this like Metal Gear Solid with a certain person?
You know about my visions. How could you possibly...
There is only one way. Stop it in its tracks, then dull its perception.
What the hell are you doing?
You don't know how to... Huh? A new symbol.
Damn, Alvis. You definitely put Shulk's skill of the Monado to shame. Damn, dude.
That was... amazing.
Indeed.
I suggest you stop staring. The sword is yours to wield.
What was that light?
The Monado does not control itself. You control it.
Okay.
control it. By the light of the Monado, I will stop them.
So, at this point now, the Monado now has a new Monado art, known as Monado Purge. And Monado Purge is probably one of the more underutilized arts in this game, solely due to the fact that even though it has the ability to remove what are known as auras from people, but the effect just does not last very long. So before we get started, let's view Alvis and his equipment. As you can see, again, just like with Dixon, you can't change around his equipment, and he has his own weapon, the Claymore, and an unbeatable 6 with a 100% rate. So again, you can't change his equipment around at all. And I believe he starts at level 28, and that's just the way he stays. I don't know why you can't really change his equipment, but hey, it is what it is. And also, you can't play as Alvis, even if you change the party leader. It's just not possible. And viewing his arts, you can't do that, unfortunately. I wish you could, but you can't. It is what it is. So, time to get started. So, when battling Telethia, they tend to start the battle with using Soul Reed. So, when they use said move, it makes it so any and all attacks that you deal against them are futile. In other words, they completely miss. So, in order to make it so it doesn't happen, you have to use Monado Purge. So, let's take a look at Alvis's arts. He has 2 arts, and no talent art for whatever reason. He has Cross Ray and Lost Ray. Let's try this out. Wow, that was kinda lame. Sadly, it didn't do much of anything simply because Soul Reed was in effect with this particular Telethia. So, at base level 1, I believe Monado Purge will make it so auras are sealed for about 5 seconds, I think. Alright. It's kind of interesting how Alvis has his own unique arts and everything. Huh. So, seems that this particular attack isn't going to be too menacing. Get smacked.
Well, you see now, Shulk?
Thank you. Hey, wait a second. More importantly, where on Bionis did you learn to use the Monado?
They were not the primary Telethia. Merely its spawn. The primary Telethia dwells elsewhere in Makna Forest. Is it wounded? I see. The Telethia is hurt and lies in rest, wounded by a girl.
A girl?
The Monado is a divine sword capable of disturbing the very fabric of existence, of both the material and the immaterial.
Alvis, how do you know so much about the Monado?
Exactly.
Who are you?
Shulk! Shulk!
Huh? That's Ryan.
I'm over here! Shulk, we looked all over for you. Thought you'd been eaten by the forest.
Sorry, Rhine. I got attacked by Telethia. If it hadn't been for Alvis, I wouldn't have survived.
Alvis? Who's that?
I'll introduce you. He's the one that... Alvis? But he was...
There's no one here.
I'm telling you, he was right here. He even taught me how to unlock a new power from the Monado.
Just you and me, Shulk. Ain't no one else around. You probably passed out from dehydration and dreamt this guy up. Come on. Wait till the others hear this.
He was here, Rhine. I didn't dream it. I'm not lying.
Okay, okay. I believe you. And while you were having fun with your imaginary friend, did you find any ether crystals?
Yes. Good quality ones, too.
Perfect. Come on. We should hurry them back to Shala. Hang around here long enough and we'll get whacked by an imaginary beast.
I'm not lying. Alvis, who are you?
An enemy that renders your visions useless. This forest holds many surprises. Not least creatures we've never seen before. And now we know there is another who can use the Monado.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet him.
So you weren't just having a sneaky nap then?
No.
I'm just saying. You and Dunban are the only ones I know that can wield the Monado. How would this guy know how?
Okay, locked and loaded. Everyone, stand back.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, she's coming round. All thanks to our medic.
Are you okay?
Where am I?
Everything's fine. You're gonna be...
Get your hands off me!
Ah!
Nice
hey,
one.
Watch it!
Forgive me. I did not mean to...
Sorry if we surprised you.
Are you the ones who helped me?
Well, something like that.
Excuse me. My name is Melia. Forgive my indiscretion. I have not had the pleasure of coming into contact with the male Homs.
Coming into contact?
Hey, Shulk, you're creeping this lady out.
Shut up, Rhine.
This large one is far worse.
Nice. Nice sick burn from Melia.
Melia, is it? How did you get here then? What, is there no one with you? I must apologize, but my situation does not concern you. And I shall not be divulging anything to common passers-by.
Duly noted, your ladyship. But if I were to be so bold, I'm guessing that you didn't come here alone. And you weren't just taking an afternoon nap.
And what, may I ask, are you doing here? It is rare to see Homs venture this deep into Makna Forest.
We're traveling to the head of the Bionis. We've got a long journey ahead of us.
The head of the Bionis?
We were just figuring out how to get there when we found you.
I see. Then permit me to return the favor by aiding you in your quest.
Really?
There is only one path to the head of the Bionis. It is the path that leads to Erith Sea.
So, this Erith Sea is at the head of the Bionis.
If you would be kind enough to escort me out of the forest, I will show you the way.
You do that? Thank you, Melia. I'm Shulk. Pleased to meet you.
Shulk? Ah, yes. Likewise.
She's a bit high and mighty. But she's a Homs too, right? Why is she here alone?
Ain't got a clue. Ask her yourself. I'm not good with her posh accent.
Too funny.
We shall travel to the Nopon village.
Nopon village? That's where we've been heading. We reckon it's our best chance of making it to the top.
Since inhabiting the region, the Nopon have been a great help. You can travel to Erith Sea from their village.
It's settled. We'll make our way to the Nopon village.
Very well. The Nopon inhabit a giant tree. If we follow this trail, we will be safe.
So at this point, say hello to everyone's favorite girl, Melia. One of the weaker characters of the main campaign, said no one except a very, very ignorant boy at IGN. Anyway, a lot of people love this girl for so many reasons. And funny enough, her starting hat doesn't reveal her other side of her, if you know what I mean. So basically, her starting hat in a regular new game playthrough doesn't reveal her wings, but depending on what you have equipped for her, you can reveal her little secret a little bit earlier than you're supposed to, if you know what I mean. But regardless, though, it is something else you possibly could do if you so wish. So, yeah, say hello to Melia. Melia is a very unique person, considering that she is the most tactical person that you can employ in your entire party. And as far as her lowest level that you can bring her down to, she can be dropped as low as level 23. So I'm going to put her at level 32, or no, let's put her at level 34. That ought to do it. Level 34 will work. So anyway, with Melia here, she has some very unique abilities, and that is, with her arts, she basically summons different elementals to aid her as well as other party members. And what makes Melia unique is that when summoning these particular elementals, they will provide buffs to not only her but the entire party. However, you can also disperse or discharge these arts against the enemy and deal massive damage. What makes her rather interesting is that AI Melia is not too good in this regard. So what I mean by this is that she'll summon elementals, absolutely, but she'll rarely discharge them. She'll mainly keep them around for buffs, and that's really about it. So that's basically Melia in a nutshell. Overall, if you want to use or have her in your party, make sure she's the party leader, otherwise you're just going to get hurt. Well, okay, maybe not, but even so, I'm just saying. Basically with Melia, you basically... Oh my god, how many times have I said basically throughout this entire session? You can turn it into a damn drinking game for all I know. What I'm trying to say is, with Melia, you do not want her to get any aggro whatsoever. You want to have the other party members use aggro, while with Melia, you want to just summon the elementals all around you. Afterwards, discharge them. Melia's talent art is rather unique, as instead of charging up while using regular attacks and auto-attacking physically, as you're summoning elementals and discharging them, that will charge up Melia's talent gauge. And once that's maxed out, she'll gain access to several unique arts that she can choose to unleash, provided you have those abilities equipped. Or more or less those arts equipped. One of those things is Burst End. That can only be unleashed after the talent gauge is fully charged and ready to go. And of course, just like with everyone else, I've charged all of her arts up, so they'll be dealing the most amount of damage possible. There we are. Nicely done. Excuse me? Glass rod. I don't think I've gotten that from Melia yet. That's pretty interesting. Of course, with Melia, I believe all of her equipment... Okay. No, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. So, all in all, Melia is all about dealing the most amount of ether damage possible. She's basically the queen of dealing lots of damage extremely quickly, especially if you set her up just right. In other words, if you stack up on using ether plus based abilities, Jesus, it's really bringing the pain train, if you know what I mean. By the way, when Melia's talent gauge is glowing like that, not only will you be given access to more of her more powerful arts, but I believe her arts will be dealing more damage as well. I'm not sure how much more damage, but it's a fairly decent amount more. So when it comes to summoning elementals for Melia, Melia can summon up to 3 different elementals at once, each one providing their own unique abilities, buffs, as well as damage output. So, in other words, summoning these elementals, it's good to have the different buffs associated with them, but it's even better when dispersing these elementals, as depending on the art's level, it can deal a lot of damage, plus have some secondary effects attached to it too. So that is pretty damn sweet, if I do say so myself. Melia does have a couple of physical-based arts, but really, you shouldn't be using them all that often. Not unless it's necessary. Basically, when it comes to Melia, there I go again with that crap. As I was saying, with Melia is definitely the most tactical person you can have in your entire party. If you want something that can deal a ton of ether damage in a very short period of time, Melia is your gal. And even more so in more ways than one. Not just in the fact that she can deal a ton of damage, but there's a lot of other things that make Melia quite unique. It's funny how I almost called her Yelia. Oh, Jesus. I really am going insane. Let's see here. Got some pretty good equipment, all things considered. Anyway, one thing I will mention here is if you are looking for a character guide on how to play as certain characters, especially if you don't know what you're doing with certain characters, I would definitely look up a character guide on YouTube, as believe it or not, that's what I've used when configuring certain characters, especially Melia, considering that she is the most unique character in the entire party. What's even funnier is that Melia there I go again! Melia replaces Sharla. How? Well, her ether arts not only deal more damage, but she's a lot more versatile than Sharla. and at least she can actually put up a damn fight. And her physical arts are actually worth a damn. Plus, her talent art is one of those arts that doesn't put her out of the fight. In other words, it makes it so that Sharla has a bit of a problem with her ether rifle overheating, especially at the wrong moments and the wrong time. Melia, you don't have to worry about that at all. Bye-bye. Everyone is dead. So one thing I will mention around here is that when dealing with fish or aquatic-like enemies, when you defeat them, they take quite a while to vanish. How long? I'd say about 15 seconds. That, honestly, is really damn annoying, especially when you're trying to get your hands on some valuable treasures, as it takes quite a while just to get to said treasure. I don't know why that is. It's very annoying. Even so, it is something worth bringing up.
Now you shall witness our power.
Let me at him. Don't hold back.
It's flowing through me. I see life outside my world is not easy.
Okay.
Man, what a bunch of jokers.
So anyway, one thing I will mention here is that Burst End, even though it's art that I have assigned to Melia, she doesn't get her hands on said art for quite a while. I'm not sure if it comes from a story-based event or if it comes via a side quest, but even so, it is something worth mentioning. Okay, can't view that heart-to-heart yet, but at least I know that it shouldn't be too much longer until we can view said heart-to-heart. Which, honestly, is pretty damn sweet. So anyway, as Melia mentioned before, sticking to the path is honestly the safest way to travel. Why? Because when we're approaching the area where the Nopon village is, there are several enemies around here that are not only like level 30 plus, but there are also several enemies that are in the high levels, like level 90. I'm just saying, it's that frickin' nuts. They're pretty damn strong, all things considered. As you can see, there's this Triceratops-like enemy right here that's a level 96. This thing, yeah, don't mess with it, not unless you are like level 99, in which case, have fun.
This is the entrance to Frontier Village.
So this big tree is where the Nopon live.
Ah, Bird Lady. Welcome back, Bird Lady.
I wish to speak with the village chief. Will you permit us to enter?
My pleasure, my pleasure.
I shall take you to the village chief. Follow me.
Sure. What's also pretty funny is that Nopon around here, their mouths don't move. Same also holds true on the Wii. And it's even more baffling here on the Switch release. It's kind of hilarious. That's like PS1 level quality character models. Just saying. Anyway, welcome to my favorite town in the entire game, Frontier Village.
Hum hum! Hum here! Hum here! Hum who? Hum who? Hum hum everywhere. Me want touch hum hum. Me want nibble hum hum. Hum hum taste pih. Hum hum scary. Ooh.
Nopon of Frontier Village. Melia Antigua has returned. I request an audience with your chief. Chief,
Will you hear my request?
Melia here.
Bird lady here.
Melia back. Bird lady back.
Bird lady?
Wonder what that's all about.
My dear Melia, it's good to see you again so soon. And you look so well. And what of your men?
They are at one with the Bionis. They sacrificed their lives so that I might escape. But this is not my reason for coming. These Homs need your help. Will you be so kind as to listen to their request?
What could a hum need of me?
They require safe passage to Erith Sea.
I see no reason to deny them. And Melia, what of you?
I have unfinished business in this region. Once these Homs are safely on their way, I shall be on mine as well. That girl. Something's troubling her.
We found her half dead and all alone. But I don't suppose she'll tell us the reason anytime soon.
Maybe we can help. I'll go and talk to her.
Seems perfectly reasonable. Anyway, as I said, welcome to Frontier Village. Within this place, as you can tell, this is the home of the Nopon people. The Nopon, as I've mentioned before, are all traveling merchants for the most part. Each of them have their own unique personalities, quests, and stuff of that nature. So, when it comes to this place in general, this is my personal favorite village due to several reasons. First off, the music here is very relaxing in both daytime as well as nighttime. And navigating through this giant tree is quite a fun adventure within itself. As you can see, we've only seen like the first part of the tree, and it's only gonna get bigger from here. How exactly? Well, you'll soon see what I mean. First off, though, there are some new quests that I'm going to be picking up, taking on, and finishing up almost right away, just simply because. Plus, there's plenty of people who I want to speak to and mark on my Affinity Chart, just so that way we can get their quests started later down the line if necessary. Just saying, though. It does kind of suck how I have to re-add all of these named NPCs back into my Affinity Chart, which is kind of lame. Hello, Banna. I have a feeling that he's going to be a pretty important NPC later down the line. Down the line. Why did I say lime? You know what I meant, right? Okay. This shouldn't be too bad. So, let's go ahead and explore this village a bit, shall we? I know our destination is technically towards the very top of the tree, but before I head there, there are some people I want to speak to for obvious reasons. First off, not only to start some quests, but also to mark them on my Affinity Chart too. Again, as I've mentioned before, most of these quests involve either collecting the things and bringing them the things, or just simply beating the ever-living crud out of things. It really depends on what that NPC is feeling like having you do that day. Anyway, that flower bracelet, I believe, is for a future quest coming up relatively soon. It may seem like we're not doing very much right now, but trust me, there is definitely a point to coming around here. It's mainly for marking locations and also picking up some more stuff. Now at this point we can now listen to what I call the superior version of Nopon, Frontier Village. As I said, I find this place to be incredibly relaxing, welcoming, and it just feels like a proper sanctuary, if you know what I mean. It just feels like a welcoming place. I don't know why that is. I mean, it does make sense. This is a town of merchants, after all. Merchants at heart, if you know what I mean. Even so, as I said, this is definitely my favorite town, especially when it comes to exploration. The place itself has a lot of places where you can go to more or less... Shoot, what am I trying to say? There's just a lot of places where you can just explore and find so many wondrous things. There's also a lot of people who have a lot of different quests. And I feel as though a large majority of the quests end up here for some reason. Which is pretty interesting. Also, apologies if I keep going by the dialogue boxes a bit too quickly again. That's my bad. So, if you're trying to figure out where you need to go to next, most, or more or less important NPCs will tell you where you need to go, which is pretty nice, but even so, let's see here. Any other named NPCs? That would be you. Again, always important to try to track down named NPCs, which, again, thankfully are always marked on your map. Oh, well, you know, I can actually buy some stuff now. Yay! It's funny how, there are some things I could technically buy, even though they don't really benefit me much at all. But trust me, it is worth getting your hands on. Mainly more so for fashion accessories. You never know. Sometimes that particular item may be important when it comes to gathering more fashion gear. Fashion gear, again, is purely cosmetic, and you don't need to necessarily get every single one of those things, but if you want to make everyone look all spiffy and just super shiny, don't be afraid to search around and try to get all the different items in different pieces of clothing. So long as you have at least one, or if you gathered it at some point in your adventure, then it will be added to your fashion slots no matter what. Speaking of fashion items, when it comes to Shulk and his Monado, you are not able to change out his weapon not until you not only finish the main campaign, but you also have to finish the extra story as well. And then and only then will you be able to change his weapon. Then again, maybe, I think as long as you beat the main campaign and start a New Game Plus playthrough, then you can change Shulk's cosmetic weapon. As at that point, he'll always have his strongest weapon in the entire game with him at all times. But, again, you can always change it around if you so desire. Just again, you can only change that during a New Game Plus playthrough. Any other time, you can't change his weapon. At least on the cosmetic side. And Shulk's the only one that has this sort of quirk with him. Everyone else, not so much. Here you go. Here's some berries for you, my dude. So when it comes to this place in general, this is not that large of a village, considering that even though there's a fairly large landscape, what's really large about this place is the number of floors this place has. This is definitely the most verticality you'll find in any given village area ever. Just saying. There's a ton of verticality in this place. But that's what makes this place so cool. It takes place in a giant freaking tree. Like the largest tree you can go inside in the entire game. And really, it's the only tree you can go inside at all. And that's what makes this place so unique, so mysterious, and just overall that much cooler, if you know what I mean. Just saying.
Yes.
And again, like I said, talking to NPCs, especially named ones, it may seem like it's not that important, but trust me, it is if you're going for all the quests. I wonder what you have up your sleeve, little man. So, what this guy is saying here is that this place has a unique way of lighting up the place, especially at night. So, what that unique thing is that they use pollen lamps in order to light up the world around them, rather than using ether or electricity, which is pretty damn interesting. And I believe for this particular quest, you cannot gather the items beforehand. These things only show up when you start the quest. Yay! So, that's something worth mentioning. Okay, let's see here. There is one other thing I will mention here, and that is, it is pretty easy to get lost in this place, but honestly, it's not that bad. There's also plenty of places you can jump from just for fun. Whether it be just to get from one place to another more quickly, or just to, come on, get out of my way. I think what I was trying to say was, there are a lot of places where you can go, there's a ton of verticality, and there's also a fairly decent number of room for shortcuts too. Just keep in mind that you can very easily fall and die. And again, no big deal if you end up kicking the bucket or not. It honestly isn't. If you die, no big deal. You'll just respawn in like the center of town or something. Or whatever the landmark was. Just saying. Plus, this place holds a lot of potential experience. Mainly due to the fact that there's a lot of landmarks and just destination locations where you could possibly go to. In other words, fast travel to. Basically, there's a lot of fast travel opportunities here. And there I go saying that word again. I really should expunge that from my vocabulary, but it is what it is. I wonder if anyone's keeping count of how many times I said basically throughout this whole session. It'd be pretty interesting, to say the least. I'm pretty sure I said it at least 10 or 15 times, plus. Might be more. Oh dear. So, it seems that this particular Nopon only has his quests available when you interact with the right named NPCs. In other words, add them to your Affinity Chart. And once you do, then you can actually start the quest. This is pretty interesting and also kind of annoying when it comes to unlocking certain quests. Especially when it involves being able to expand one character's skill tree, if you know what I mean. Mainly involving a party member, which we'll be picking up relatively soon. Like how soon exactly? Well, within the next session for sure. But not now. I'm kind of surprised we're close to the 3-hour mark already. Honestly, I was not expecting us to take this long, but hey, what can I say? Other than the fact that we took a lot of detours throughout this entire session, just to get everything in motion and just show off more of the world, if you know what I mean. Even though we explored quite a bit today, that doesn't mean that we're not making progress, because trust me, we are. We are most definitely making a fairly decent amount of progress. And even though we've been taking on a lot of quests here, more are becoming available as we progress through the game. Okay, so it looks like for this one we just need to speak to certain NPCs. Of course, I'd have to read more into the quest line in order to figure that out, if that's truly the case or not. But even so. Most quests, like I said, just involve going from point A to point B, beating up Monster A. Or Monster B, getting item C, or item D, whatever. Most of these quests really aren't that far out of the way. Hello, what do we have here? Gimme. Well, that search quest was easy enough to complete. One other thing I will mention here is that there are a lot of named NPCs in Frontier Village. And again, a lot of the named NPCs will only come out at certain times of the day. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Well, at least that's been added to our Affinity Chart. Plus, I think we updated the quest too. Hang on, did I... I could have swore there was another... Ah, here we are. That would be you. Okay. Like I said, there's a lot of places where you can go. And there's a lot of verticality involved. And there's also plenty of places where you could end up getting lost, too. Okay, that's the quest I wanted to start tracking here. Okay, it looks like the other targets aren't going to be around right now, which is kind of unfortunate. Oh well, I think they come out around nighttime anyhow, so not a big deal. So even though we're at the 3-hour mark right now, I would like to at least reach our next destination before we close today's session out. So let's meet up with Melia and see if we can possibly cheer her up. I'm sure she has a lot on her mind.
Melia, you're welcome to come with us. Is it true? Were you alone in the forest?
That thing must be stopped by my hand. This is my pledge to those that have died.
Is it wounded? I see. The Telethia is hurt and lies in rest, wounded by a girl.
Wounded by a girl? You don't mean you're going to fight the Telethia?
How do you know of the Telethia?
When I went to collect the ether crystals, some Telethia attacked me. I managed to destroy them and get away.
You defeated Telethia? Who are you?
The man of your dreams.
The Monado. So that sword can...
To tell the truth, they were the Telethia spawn. Someone told me the primary Telethia is healing somewhere in the forest. It was you, wasn't it? You hurt the Telethia. Melia.
The Telethia escaped from our homeland, and I am tasked with killing it. It cannot remain free. For the sake of my people and the Nopon, it must be stopped.
Melia, we can help you defeat it if you like.
Out of pity?
No.
Why then?
It's just... I want...
Speak, Shulk, or I shall be forced to summon the Nopon chief to interpret for me.
I would like to help.
What could you possibly gain from aiding me?
I saw it. At the top of a black tower. You and I were fighting together. Fighting that faced Mekon. I also saw you fighting a huge Telethia.
It threw me the first time and all.
Forgive me, Shulk, but what are you talking about?
Shulk can see visions of the future.
See the future? And you expect me to believe this rubbish?
Believe what you want, lady. Same as I tell all the non-believers.
That'll be me then.
Oh yeah! In any case, the only reason we got this far was because of Shulk's visions. If Shulk says he saw you in a vision, then you must be important to whatever happens next. And if you're tough enough to fight a face Mekon, you're all right in my book.
You've got my vote. A lady should not go unaccompanied onto the battlefield.
Excuse me? I am quite capable of dispatching the beast alone. I require no assistance of any kind.
My dear, I apologize, but I could not help overhearing. Their offer sounds quite reasonable. The danger extends much further than our small dwelling. Makna itself is at risk, and we shall provide you with the finest warrior of our clan.
Chief Dunga,
No need for thanks. He is the equal, if not better, of the Hom-Hom.
You do know we're listening?
The chosen Nopon hero will await you below. I shall go ahead and prepare him. Please, excuse me.
A Nopon hero? Now this I have to see.
Don't be like that. Let's meet him first.
Funny enough, this Nopon hero is my favorite character in the entire game. How? Well, we'll find that out in the next session. I feel as though now would be a good time to call it quits for today, but before I do, I want to head on up here and just speak to a couple more named NPCs, get them added to the Affinity Chart, see if I can do another heart-to-heart, or maybe not. But even so, there is a reason why I'm doing this. Trust me, there really is. It may seem like this is kind of a waste of time, but trust me, there's a reason. Heading up this way, believe it or not, there is another fast travel point right here. And again, no heart-to-heart here, unfortunately. Not yet, anyway. Hello. Okay. Here you go. All done. Wow, looks like my internet is shitting itself. Again. Yay. Well, anyway, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of NPCs around here other than just regular Nopon villagers. But like I said, there is definitely a point of coming up here. We even get ourselves a nice Dinos hook? Well, whatever. Let's see here. I know that technically the Nopon, the Sacred Altar is where we're going to be needing to go to next. But honestly, I think I'm going to go ahead and end things right here. And the reason why is because, well, like I said, we are definitely over the 3-hour mark now for sure. And now I feel it's a good time to end things here anyway. So, with that, folks, I bid you all adieu for today. This is General Snivy with the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to say hello to my favorite character in the entire freaking game. And we're going to figure out who this hero of the Nopon is. Plus, we may even beat up a Telethia or two. We'll see, folks. We'll most definitely see. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. See you all later.